It's reminded to you that there's no teaching here. There's no purpose here. There are only stories. But it has been suggested that every story has 4 levels. That level where they have a message, a teaching, or maybe a moral. The level where they can have sacred numbers, or symbols, or archetypes. The level where there is a unifying element. And every story has an essence, a secret, an open secret for those who have ears to hear. In a time long ago, in faraway Turkey, the daughter, the beloved and only daughter of the Sultan of the day, was deathly, mortally ill. The Sultan had called physicians from all over the land, soothsayers, magicians, but no one was able to bring healing to the princess, until it so happened that one somewhat enlightened being was present who said to the Sultan, "Your daughter can only be healed if she eats fruit from the tree of life." Immediately the Sultan's interest was piqued, and he said, where can this tree be found? And it was said, it was believed from hearsay, that there was a garden, and in that garden there were 2 trees, one called the tree of life, and the other called the tree of knowledge. But if one ate from the tree of life, healing would immediately happen. So the Sultan demanded, "Where can I find those that can bring me this fruit?" And this wise being suggested that there was a book, mostly studied by the people of the Jewish faith, who spoke about the garden and the trees. So immediately the Sultan sent for the 3 leading Jewish rabbis of that place, calling them to him and stating, "I believe that you have knowledge of a garden where there is to be found a tree that has healing fruit. I demand that you bring fruit from this tree to me, else there will be dire consequences for you and your people." The rabbis were greatly perplexed and worried. Of course, they knew that these trees were to be found in the Garden of Eden, spoken of in the holy books. But who knew where this garden of Eden was to be found, much less find one's way to it. The 3 rabbis went off and went to every synagogue, telling the people what had been demanded of them, but no one had an answer. One of the rabbis went back to his house, and his daughter, a being called Leah, noticed that her father was greatly worried and asked him, and he told of that which had been demanded of them. Leah said, "But, Father, is it not said that there is on earth at any time 36 great tzaddiks who are said to hold up existence in any age? There is no doubt that one of these would know where the tree is to be found." "Yes," said the rabbi, "but where do we find such a one of this 36? And Leah said, "It is said that in the forest not far from here it is whispered that there is one who could be such a one as this. Let us go, Father, and find this being." So the rabbi and his daughter Leah set out. There were guides along the way. They were pointed in the direction of the forest. And when they followed the directions, they came to a small hut. And when they knocked on the door opened to reveal an old man, long white beard. But Leah immediately noticed that there was a shining light around him. They were invited in and asked what was their request. And the rabbi explained, when the hermit heard this story, he went to his bookshelf and took down an ancient tome and opened it up, and there in its pages was a leaf, a green leaf, fresh as though it had been picked from a tree that very day. And the old hermit said, "This leaf has been handed down for many hundreds of years. It is said to come from the tree of life." And the old man handed the leaf to Leah, and he said, "Place this leaf under your pillow and see what it is that occurs." Now, this was a great surprise. Why was the leaf not handed to the rabbi? He was perplexed, but did not question. And the answer was given without the question being articulated. It is she who is destined to go to the garden. So Leah and the rabbi, taking the leaf, made their way back, but there was a distance, and so they stayed at an inn on the edge of the forest that evening. That night, Leah placed the leaf under her pillow, and that night she dreamed. She dreamed that she was in a garden of exceptional beauty. And she noticed that in every tree there was an angel. So she asked, "Who will guide me to the tree of life?" And one of the angels replied that they could guide her to where, in fact, there were 2 trees, and it was she who would have to choose which of those trees was the tree of life. So the angel guided Leah to a clearing in which there stood 2 identical trees. Leah looked. Each of them had fruit. Which one of the trees could be the tree of life? Remembering that it was said that the other tree was the tree of knowledge. And then Leah noticed that in one of the trees, high up in its branches, there was a serpent. And remembering what the holy books say, that this is the tree of knowledge, she immediately plucked a fruit from the other tree, the tree of life. And in that instant, she awoke from her dream. To her great surprise, there, on the pillow, beside her head, was an apple, ripe, juicy, red. She immediately woke her father, the rabbi, who had had a sleepless night, because this was the last day, the 3rd day, that the Sultan had given them. Only 3 days to bring back this fruit. So they hastened to the Sultan's palace. The Sultan quickly took the fruit and placed it under the nose of his daughter. Her eyes immediately fluttered, and she awoke and was invited to eat of the fruit. Immediately that she did, she was restored to full and blooming health. The rest of the story we can glean. The Sultan was greatly delighted, rejoicing and thankful. The rabbi and his daughter Leah were invited to the palace, and the princess and Leah became the closest of friends. Never either of them tiring of remembering and retelling the story of how the princess was restored to health. taking this story and being a little analytical of its layers. What is it for you that could be or arises the teaching, the lesson, the moral? What are the sacred numbers, archetypes, symbols it contains? What is it that is the thread, the being or the element that unifies the whole story? And can we, when all of these three levels merge in us, like the body and the mind and the spirit, the existence, knowledge and bliss that makes the Satchitananda, come together like the flour, the sugar and the yeast, and combine? Could it, coming together, give us a gleaning, an inkling, a feeling, an awareness, a knowing of the secret it contains? Can we, as we do, bring the level of cause and effect, of the magic of the occult realms, our intuition, our dreams and inspirations, aspirations, our feeling of the interrelatedness of life, come together? The secret. Can we share it? Yes, we can. Thank you, thank you.